Have you ever wondered what sets truly great leaders apart from the rest? Why some voices stir the soul while others fade into the background? It's not charisma. It's not fame. It's something far deeper. In this video, we're going to uncover a truth that can transform the way you lead, live, and impact the world. Because leadership is not about commanding others, it's about awakening belief in something greater. It's about inspiring action through purpose. This isn't just another motivational talk. This is a call to every dreamer, every builder, every person who believes they were made for more. If you've ever felt the fire inside you to lead but didn't know where to begin, stay with me. If you've ever asked yourself, can I really make a difference? The answer is yes, and today you'll understand why. This speech will challenge you to think differently, act with intention, and inspire not just with your words but with your life. Because the world doesn't need more managers, it needs visionaries. People who lead with heart. People who build trust, and people who move others towards something meaningful. So don't click away. Stay until the end. Because what you'll hear today might just be the spark that lights up your entire future. Great leaders don't start with what they do or how they do it. They start with why. Why does this mission exist? Why does this work matter? Why should anyone care? This is the question that moves people from compliance to commitment, from passive agreement to passionate involvement. When you start with why, you're not just giving information, you're giving people a reason to believe. A leader's clarity of purpose ignites something deeper than motivation. It stirs up conviction. That conviction is what fuels consistent effort, even in the face of adversity. When people understand and connect with your why, they are more likely to walk with you through the difficult days and invest themselves fully in the journey ahead. Organizations often get trapped in the cycle of explaining what they do and how they do it. They show features, talk about benefits, outline strategies. But people don't buy into what you do. They buy into why you do it. If your why is strong enough, people will overlook imperfections, tolerate setbacks, and remain loyal. Because purpose builds trust, and trust builds inspiration. That's the difference between leadership and management. Managers direct, leaders inspire, and inspiration begins with a cause. A great leader's why doesn't have to be flashy, it just has to be real. Authenticity matters. People can smell pretense. They know when they're being sold something versus when they're being invited into something meaningful. Leaders who inspire start by telling the truth about what drives them, about what breaks their heart, about what energizes them, about the future they want to help create. They speak from the core. They don't try to manipulate outcomes, they invite alignment. That kind of leadership creates movement, not just momentum. It transforms teams into tribes, companies into causes, and employees into ambassadors. Clarity of purpose gives direction when the path gets foggy, when things go wrong, and they always do. The why is what keeps everyone grounded. It's what keeps leaders from making panic-driven decisions and keeps teams from falling apart. It serves as a compass, a true north. If a leader doesn't know their why, every obstacle becomes a crisis. But when the why is clear, every obstacle becomes an opportunity to recommit to the mission. This kind of leadership also attracts the right people. When you lead with purpose, you repel those who are only in it for the paycheck and attract those who are in it for the purpose. You build a team not of mercenaries but of missionaries. People who see the work as bigger than themselves. That's the foundation of great impact. People don't follow what you do, they follow why you do it. They don't want to be managed. They want to be inspired. And that begins when a leader is bold enough to be vulnerable, honest enough to be clear, and courageous enough to stand for something beyond the surface. In a world full of noise, a clear and genuine why cuts through like a signal. It's what draws people in, holds them close, and sends them out with a fire that can't be extinguished. That's the real work of leadership, to lead not just with vision but with a purpose so compelling that people can't help but want to be part of it. Great leaders do something most people overlook. They listen. Not to reply, not to control, but to understand. Listening is not passive, it's one of the most active and powerful tools a leader can use. When people feel heard, they feel seen. And when they feel seen, they feel valued. That sense of value is the cornerstone of trust. And without trust, no leader can truly inspire. The truth is, people don't follow titles, they follow those who make them feel like they matter. When a leader listens deeply and intentionally, they communicate one of the most powerful messages a human being can hear: you are important. Listening fosters connection, and connection is where influence begins. Influence doesn't start with speeches or strategies, it begins in silence, when you pause to hear someone else's perspective. Great leaders create space for voices that are often overlooked. They understand that real insight doesn't always come from the top. Sometimes the best ideas are hiding at the edges of the room, in the hearts of those who haven't been given permission to speak. But leaders who inspire are always listening. Not just to words, but to tone, to emotion, to silence. They read the room not just with their eyes but with their hearts. The best leaders understand that listening isn't about agreement. It's about presence. You don't have to accept every opinion to value the person sharing it. You simply have to care enough to be present, to lean in instead of shutting down, to ask, "Tell me more," instead of moving on. This kind of listening builds emotional safety. It tells your team, this is a place where your voice matters. And that kind of environment unleashes creativity, fosters loyalty, and strengthens culture. People will give more to a place where they feel they belong. But listening requires humility. It demands that a leader set aside ego, resist the urge to dominate, and embrace the truth that leadership is not about being the smartest person in the room. It's about bringing out the brilliance in others. It's easy to pretend to listen while already forming your next response. It's much harder to quiet your mind and enter the conversation with genuine curiosity. But that's what sets inspiring leaders apart. They listen with intent, not with impatience. When leaders truly listen, they make better decisions. They get the full picture, not just the filtered version. They avoid blind spots, prevent crises, and identify opportunities they would have otherwise missed. Listening is a form of leadership intelligence. It's not about passivity, it's about power, relational power. The kind that makes people want to be part of your mission, not because they have to, but because they feel part of something they helped shape. In a world that celebrates noise, great leaders embrace the quiet strength of listening. They understand that the most powerful way to influence someone isn't by talking at them, but by showing them they matter enough to be heard. When people feel heard, they lean in, they open up, they step forward, and that is where transformation begins. Not through commands but through connection. Not through domination, but through empathy, and not through authority, but through attention. Listening isn't just a soft skill, it's a leadership superpower. Great leaders lead by example. They don't just talk about values, they live them. They don't just point the way, they walk it first. This is where inspiration is born, not from lofty speeches or grand strategies, but from the simple, consistent integrity of daily actions. People are watching, not just what you say, but what you do when no one is clapping. They notice how you treat others when things are stressful. They remember whether your actions line up with your promises. And more than anything, they follow your lead not because they have to, but because your life gives them a reason to believe. Leadership is never about a position, it's about permission. And that permission is earned over time, through consistency, authenticity, and courage. The greatest leaders understand that their behavior is a message. Every action says something. The way they handle pressure speaks louder than any meeting agenda. The way they own their mistakes teaches more than any leadership book ever could. When you lead by example, you invite others into a higher standard, not through coercion, but through inspiration. People don't rise because you told them to. They rise because you showed them it's possible. You held the line when it would have been easier to bend. You spoke the truth when silence would have been safer. You chose excellence even when no one was watching. And in doing so, you gave others the courage to do the same. Leading by example isn't about perfection, it's about consistency. It's about showing up fully, even when it's uncomfortable. Especially when it's uncomfortable. Because that's when people are most in need of a real leader, not just someone to instruct them, but someone to model the way forward. The world is filled with voices trying to tell us how to live, what to do, what to become. But the voice that carries the most weight is the one backed by action. People are tired of empty rhetoric. They want to follow someone who's been through the fire and still chooses integrity. Someone who's been tested and still chooses to stand firm. That kind of leadership doesn't need to shout. It resonates deeply, because it's rooted in truth. To lead by example also means to be vulnerable, to be willing to admit when you're wrong, to be human enough to ask for help. That vulnerability builds trust faster than any resume ever could. It tells people, I'm not above you, I'm with you, and that solidarity becomes the foundation of loyalty. When your team sees you doing the hard things first, taking the hits, staying calm in chaos, they don't just respect you, they believe in you. And belief is what fuels great movements. It's what turns a group into a team, a crowd into a community. Leadership is not about being followed, it's about going first, being the first to serve, the first to sacrifice, the first to forgive, the first to show up when it's hard. That's what inspires others to step up, not because they were told to, but because they saw it lived out in front of them. Leadership begins not in your words but in your example, and that example is the most powerful message you'll ever send. Great leaders don't demand trust, they cultivate it. Trust is not something you're given simply because of a title, a paycheck, or a mission statement. Trust is earned, one moment at a time, through how you show up in the lives of the people you lead. It begins in the smallest interactions, how you listen, how you respond, how consistent you are when no one is looking. Leadership without trust is just authority. But leadership built on trust becomes influence, and influence is what truly changes people. When people trust you, they don't just follow your instructions, they align with your vision, they give you their hearts, their minds, and their best effort. To inspire others, a leader must become trustworthy, not perfect, but reliable. People need to know you'll be there when it counts. They need to feel safe enough to take risks, to speak up, to grow in your presence. That safety is born out of trust. It's built when you own your mistakes instead of hiding behind excuses. It's built when you keep your word, even when it costs you. It's built when you're honest about your weaknesses, and humble enough to learn. These actions may seem small, but they carry tremendous weight in the minds of those you lead. Because trust isn't built in grand gestures, it's built in daily consistency. Leadership without trust creates fear. Fear stifles creativity. Fear kills collaboration. Fear causes people to shrink back instead of stepping forward. But leadership with trust, it gives people the freedom to contribute, the confidence to challenge ideas, and the courage to bring their full selves to the mission. That kind of environment doesn't just produce results, it produces fulfillment. And that's when people go from simply working for you to working with you. They become partners in a shared purpose, not just employees executing tasks. That's the power of trust. It transforms leadership from control into connection. Every great movement, every lasting legacy is built on relationships that run deep. And those relationships are built on trust. You don't inspire people just by being smart, strategic, or successful. You inspire people by being real, by showing up when it's uncomfortable, by doing the hard things no one else wants to do. Trust is the currency of leadership. Without it, you're just making noise. With it, your words carry weight. With it, your leadership creates impact. A leader who inspires trust builds a culture where people grow. Because when people trust their leader, they're more willing to try, to fail, to learn, and to try again. They're more resilient in the face of adversity. They're more loyal when things get tough. And they're more unified because they know they're not being used. They're being led. Leadership isn't about having all the answers. It's about creating an environment where the best answers can emerge, and that only happens when people trust each other enough to speak truthfully, listen actively, and act boldly. You cannot fake trust. It's not something you can manufacture in a motivational meeting or a company memo. It's the result of who you are, every day, over time. It's what people feel when they're around you. Do they feel valued, seen, heard, protected? Do they feel like you'll go the distance with them, not just when it's easy, but especially when it's hard? Those are the questions that shape real trust. And when trust is present, inspiration becomes natural. People follow you not because they have to, but because they want to. Not because of your position, but because of your presence. That's when you stop managing people and start moving them. That's the difference trust makes. Great leaders inspire by leading with purpose, not just performance. In a world obsessed with metrics, milestones, and bottom lines, it's easy to forget that the most powerful fuel for human motivation is meaning. People don't wake up excited to hit a number, they wake up energized to make a difference. When leaders place purpose at the center of everything they do, they tap into something far deeper than compliance or routine. They activate commitment. A leader who leads with purpose creates a compelling reason for people to care, and when people care, they give more than what's required. They bring passion, creativity, and resilience into the work. It stops being just about tasks and starts being about transformation. Purpose answers the question why, and without a strong why, the how and what lose their power. Teams may function, but they won't flourish. People may perform, but they won't persist when adversity strikes. That's why leadership must begin with clarity of purpose. Not slogans, not empty vision statements, but a deeply rooted sense of why the work matters. That clarity doesn't just keep a leader focused, it unites the people around them. It becomes a shared North Star, something bigger than each person's job description. And when everyone knows the purpose, they begin to see how their contribution fits into the bigger picture. That connection drives deeper engagement and long-term loyalty. But purpose-driven leadership isn't just about declaring a cause, it's about living it. It's how you show up, how you make decisions, and how you respond when the pressure is on. Do your actions align with the values you say you believe in? Because people watch closely, they can spot the difference between performance for applause and purpose from the heart. When they see a leader willing to sacrifice short-term wins to stay true to long-term purpose, trust is built. And once people trust the integrity of your mission, they will follow you through the fire. That kind of loyalty can't be bought, it's earned through consistency and authenticity. Leading with purpose also means putting people before profits. It doesn't mean being naive or reckless, it means recognizing that the ultimate measure of success isn't just what you build but who you build along the way. A purpose-driven leader understands that investing in people, empowering them, developing them, believing in them, isn't a detour from performance, it's the path to it. Because when people feel that their lives are enriched by their work, they produce work that enriches lives. That's the multiplier effect of leading with purpose. It echoes outward, far beyond what you can measure in a quarterly report. Purpose gives leaders the courage to keep going when everything feels uncertain. It's the anchor in the storm. When setbacks hit, when criticism mounts, when plans fall apart, purpose remains. And that stability allows leaders to remain calm, focused, and inspiring, even when circumstances are chaotic. People look to their leader and ask, "Do you still believe in this?" And when the answer is yes, when they see unwavering conviction, it strengthens their own resolve. That's how movements are built. Not through hype, but through heartfelt belief, consistently lived out. True leaders don't just deliver results, they deliver meaning. They help people feel that their work matters, that their lives are part of a mission worth giving everything for. That's what separates average leadership from inspirational leadership. It's not about charisma or authority, it's about purpose that's lived, not just spoken. When you lead with purpose, you ignite something inside others that makes them want to be part of the journey, not just because of where you're going, but because of why you're going there. And that why is what turns a group of individuals into a team, and a team into a force that changes the world. Great leaders inspire by creating a vision that others want to be part of. Vision isn't just about where you're going, it's about painting a picture of the future so compelling that others are drawn to it, not out of obligation, but out of desire. A powerful vision acts like a magnet. It pulls people forward. It doesn't push, coerce, or demand. It invites. It awakens imagination. It stirs ambition. And when done right, it provides something deeply human, a sense of hope. In a world full of chaos and uncertainty, people crave direction. Not just instruction, but direction that carries meaning, that promises significance. A leader with vision becomes a beacon for those wandering in confusion. They shine clarity where there is fog. They help others believe that tomorrow can be better than today, and that they can play a role in building it. But vision without communication is invisible. Leaders who truly inspire know that vision must be spoken, repeated, lived, and shown. It must be turned into a shared language, a rallying cry that everyone can grasp. Vision that stays locked in the leader's mind is a missed opportunity. People want to know where they're going and why it matters. And that responsibility lies with the leader, not to dictate every step, but to remind others of the destination and the impact of reaching it. This means you must communicate with authenticity. Speak from conviction, not from a script. Let your passion bleed through your words. People respond to sincerity. When you communicate a vision with clarity and heart, you don't just transfer information, you transfer belief. And belief is what changes behavior. A great vision also aligns people. It eliminates distractions. It answers questions before they're even asked. It becomes a filter through which decisions are made. If the vision is clear, then the strategy has direction. If the vision is compelling, then the team finds the energy to execute it. It's no longer about doing tasks, it's about building towards something. Leaders who inspire understand that vision isn't a fixed thing, it evolves. But the heart of it stays constant. The purpose behind it is the same, even if the path changes. That's why adaptability is essential. People must feel that the leader is rooted in values but flexible in methods. This balance creates both trust and momentum. When people trust the vision, they will adapt to the change it requires. There's also a sacred element to vision. It gives people something to belong to. Not every job, role, or contribution will feel glamorous. But if people know that what they're doing helps build a future that matters, they will show up with more grit and grace. Vision turns work into worship, effort into legacy. That's the difference between a boss and a leader. A boss assigns work. A leader inspires belief, and belief outperforms fear every time. People don't want to feel like they're just surviving, they want to feel like they're building. And vision gives them the blueprint. Leaders must also be the most faithful carriers of the vision. You can't inspire people to see a better future if you don't see it yourself. You have to feel it, be obsessed with it, and walk in it before others believe it's real. That means discipline, integrity, and consistency. If the vision matters, then everything you do must reflect that. How you show up in meetings, how you make decisions under pressure, how you celebrate small wins, it all reinforces the message. You become the living proof of the future you're promising. And when people see that, they don't just follow you, they believe in you. That belief is the foundation of influence, and influence is how great leaders move the world. True leadership isn't about titles, positions, or the loudest voice in the room. It's about the quiet conviction to lead with purpose, the courage to stand for what's right, and the commitment to serve others before serving ourselves. The most powerful leaders in history weren't perfect people, but they were driven by something deeper than recognition. They were anchored in why they do what they do. And that why gave them the strength to inspire movements, transform organizations, and shift cultures. If you want to inspire others, you must first be inspired yourself. If you want to build trust, you must lead with authenticity. If you want to create lasting impact, you must commit to consistency. Remember, people don't follow what you do, they follow why you do it. And when your why is rooted in truth, service, and vision, you won't just lead, you'll ignite change. So wherever you are in your journey, whether you're leading a team, building a dream, or simply trying to live with more purpose, know this: the power to inspire is already within you. The question is, will you choose to lead with intention? Will you choose to reckon? Thank you so much for watching this video. If it moved you, challenged you, or gave you a fresh perspective, share it. Someone else needs this message too. Don't forget to like subscribe and hit the notification bell, so you never miss another video that fuels your purpose and potential. Together, let's build a world of leaders who inspire from the inside out. Keep leading, keep believing, and never stop growing. You matter. Your purpose matters. Now go lead with heart.